Welcome to Fine Tuning with Drew Taylor, your one-stop shop when it comes to animation news and commentary. I'm Drew's co-host, entertainment writer Jim Hill, and he and I are recording the show on Sunday, October 2nd, 2022. Drew, you were out in Austin for much of the past week, right?
Yeah, I was down there for Fantastic Fest. I was a judge on a jury down there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
wow.
It was very cool. Yeah, a lot of, midnight movies, Jim, aren't as easy as they used to be. I will say that.
No.
It was like, can I see this thing any other time? But you know what? Mm-hmm. I watched all the movies. We gave out the awards. It was really wonderful. So, yeah. It's great.
Oh, that is so cool. I love watching you with this sort of standing in the industry. Me, on the other hand, I was doing the Dancing Bear thing on the Disney edition, the Disney Wish, which, by the way, was great fun. A lot of very nice people came out for the event. But I have to talk about Monday morning. And we're doing the goodbye breakfast. So Nancy and I got our luggage and are getting ready to get off the boat. We walk into where they're having the goodbye breakfast. And Len and his sister Chrissy are there like, oh, good, you're here. Okay, you handle the breakfast. We have to get off the boat. Giant hurricane coming. Goodbye. And it was like, what? So for 90 minutes, thank the people who came out for the cruise, that sort of thing. And only on the drive back do we finally get full cell reception and that sort of thing and realize that Ian is a thing. In fact, what was interesting, the press event I was supposed to be going to at Orlando, as I'm in the car driving over to Universal, they contact me, and out of an abundance of caution, we're canceling the event. And so Nancy and I end up at a first watch in Orlando and are just sort of like, all right, well, what do we do? And it's like, well, we no longer have to stay here because of the press event, so we can go home. But we then start looking for flights out of Orlando, and we don't have a lot of options. And what we decide to do at that point is reach out to Thrifty, our rental car company, and pay an exorbitant fee to change where we were going to drop off our car from Orlando Airport to Manchester Boston Regional Airport. And then over the next 36 hours, we drove home, 1,336 miles. We got home, we returned the rental car, we turned on the television and look at everything that was going on in Florida. And we genuinely felt for everybody, in the Fort Myers and Sanibel Island. And I mean, to watch that 18-foot tall storm surge come rolling in, and I wish I could tell you that we did what we did because we were smart and we knew what we were doing. But no, it was just sheer dumb luck. It was like, we have no option to fly out, let's drive. And the irony is I'm headed back down to Orlando today. It's like, oh, well, can't wait for the tornado or the Black Plague. But anyway, that's not why you're here, folks. You're here for animation news. Drew and I will get to that in a moment, but want to remind you that, as always, the news portion of today's show is brought to you by Storybook Destinations, trusted travel partner of the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network. For a worry-free travel experience, please book online at storybookdestinations.com. To follow up on a story we did last show or thereabouts, we were talking about David Zaslav. What is it? The Warner Brothers Discovery CEO that is kind of controversial.
The man who makes JPEG look good.
Reasonable.
Right.
And I think on the last show we shared the rumor that was making the rounds. It appeared that Zaslav was actually getting Warner Brothers ready to sell. In fact, this scenario was in 2024 that Comcast would step up, grab Warner Brothers and its film library and fold that in with NBC Universal. And Zaslav came out strong this week to dispute that. Company-wide town hall this past Wednesday dismissing those rumors, saying flat out, we are not for sale, absolutely not for sale. He then went on to say, this was recording in the trades, we have the strongest hand in the industry. We have everything we need to be successful, be the biggest entertainment company in the world. And given the story that you did at the Wrap earlier this week, it's like, okay, that's what he's saying out of one side of his mouth. On the other side of his mouth, they're still looking for a home for that Porky Daffy film, right? The Day the World Blew Up.
Yeah, I mean, multiple animated features they're looking for homes for, and series. So I was very honored to be able to share a little bit of the Day the the world blew up or the earth blew up or whatever it was, because the animation is really amazing. I mean, did you watch the clip?
I did. It is so. This is how much of an animation nerd I am. Did you watch it and say Bob Clampett? This is like so. Of the when Bob Clampett was working at Warner's, there was a certain style and a certain look to the characters, and this is Daffy and Porky back in like 39, 40. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah, and it looks like it's traditionally, I mean, those are pencil drawings.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
That was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I particularly enjoyed when Daffy was talking, the amount of slobber that flew into the air. It just, it
warms
just,
your heart.
It does. Well, it also gets your lapel wet, but it just breaks my heart that these things were that far along and now are scrambling to find homes. Did you hear anything in particular about this at Fantastic Fest? Or
No, I didn't hear. I haven't heard anything since. I mean, I think that they released that clip to me in an effort to kind of like entice potential buyers, but I haven't heard if that has subsequently happened. Although, just looking at the quality of the animation, the characterizations, the humor, it just seems like a no-brainer to me for somebody. But then you run into that question of like, what other studio wants to have such high-powered IP if they are, all the other streamers kind of own different things. I mean, it would make sense for Netflix maybe.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Netflix because also in the past week we got the trailer dropped for My Father's Dragon, which shows up on that subscription streaming service on November 11th. What did you think of that?
I mean, I thought it looks adorable. I mean, any kind of cartoon saloon thing, we have to be supportive of 110%. But Netflix's animation slate this year has just been very diverse, and I have subsequently I've seen about 38 minutes of Pinocchio as well.
Oh.
I went to a special screening, which I don't know if I can talk about yet, but
okay.
Let's just say that the Oscar race maybe begins and ends with that one.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It took me 3 tries to get through Disney's Pinocchio, the Robert Zemeckis film. And I enjoyed Tom Hanks' performance as Geppetto. I don't think Tom Hanks is capable of a bad performance. And I think I sent a note to you in particular. I love the line where Geppetto's in the boat. And again, to give you some idea of what sort of movie, the live action CG version of Pinocchio is water skiing out to his father in the boat.
It's almost like Dash running on the water in Incredible. It's almost like a motorboating kind of thing, yeah.
But he's explaining that, I went to school, I got thrown into school, like I joined a puppet show and got put in a cage, and then I went to Pleasure Island, and Geppetto say, "You did all of that in a day?" That was a fun bit of writing, but the rest of it, just, you look at the thing, and it was clearly a lot of money spent, and a lot of talented people stepped up to the plate, but they still delivered a terrible movie. I mean, there's no way to describe that other than it's a really bad movie, right?
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what happened there. I mean, I think Tom Hanks probably shot for 2 days, 3 days, maybe. I mean, he is barely in this movie, but yeah, I don't know what happened. It's just, it's like 45 minutes longer than the original, which all these remakes always are. But good Lord, was it superfluous.
Yeah. I mean, and some of the stuff was so ridiculously self-indulgent, like the whole let's cut to the clocks and see, all sorts of Disney IP in there, because these are Easter eggs. This is what will make people talk about the movie on social media, and it's like, I'm sorry, nothing's going to make people say what you want them to say on social media about that version of Pinocchio, which is why, again, so looking forward to the version you got. So 34 minutes or thereabouts?
38 minutes.
38.
Basically the first third of the movie I got to see.
But we're still several months out from that, right?
That is, I believe, November. It'll have a brief theatrical run, and then in December it will be on Netflix for everyone to enjoy.
Got it. And now, speaking of things being shown in theaters, we were just talking about My Father's Dragon, which again, bows on Netflix November 11th. But we also have the Animation is Film Festival, in Hollywood later this month. And isn't My Father's Dragon supposed to debut there as well? Like, what, on the 21st?
Yeah, I mean, I think that festival is really good. If you're an animation festival and an animation fan and can get to this festival, you really should, because it's really great. I've been a few times, and also I've conducted Q&As there and whatever else. But yeah, it's a really wonderful place, and if you have any inclination, you should definitely visit.
Now, speaking of which, supposedly at this festival, there'll be work-in-progress screenings of both Disney's Strange World as well as DreamWorks Animation Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. But the one that really excites me is the U.S. premiere of, again, another project at Netflix, Henry Selick's Wendell and the Wild, which you have seen?
I have seen. I can definitely talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing. It's really wonderful. It's just exactly what you want from it. You know, it's a new Henry Selick movie. It's totally crazy. It's just great. From what I've seen, it's not quite... I mean, Pinocchio is kind of a work of art. This is sort of just a really interesting... really fun little movie, and I think it'll be perfect for Halloween for the whole family, especially if you've already watched Hocus Pocus 2 1,000 times.
What did you make of that?
I thought it was really fun. I actually was surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
I have to admit, it was kind of the same thing. It was one of these things where I was actually kind of worried going into it, because Hocus Pocus isn't the greatest film, but it's campy and it's fun, and it has three wonderful performances at its core. And 29 years later, it was like, geez, can you step back up to the plate? Can you do that again? But of course, on the heels of Top Gun Maverick, it's like, why did I doubt? That was 35 years, right?
That was 36, yeah.
36. Oh, my God. Yeah. But they managed to deliver the goods. And in fact, I think what was interesting, I thought the end was surprisingly touching, because it was like the audience at this point has a fondness for the Sanderson sisters. And to leave it at that point, or more to the point, to tee up a possible Hocus Pocus 3, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. If that's what they're going to do with these characters, and that's a level of product they're going to deliver.
Yeah, it kind of like, it got us back to that. It reintroduced them to the franchise, and then I feel like it's a lot easier ask to come back in a year or 2 years than it is to come back after 30 years. So, yeah. I thought they did a great job, and I would happily watch the further adventures of the Sanderson sisters. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, well, anyway, to double back to Wendell and the Wild, it gets a theatrical release on October 21st.
And then it'll be on Netflix on the 28th.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, there's just the briefest theatrical window, and I don't even know if it's playing outside of New York and LA. That might be a Oscar qualifying run.
Got it.
But however you see it, do it, because it is just great.
Okay, speaking of Netflix, we were talking about how Mike Moon, who is in charge of animation over at Netflix, and this is after his stint, of course, at Disney and Sony and cartoon animation, he has a new home now. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so this is interesting. So Mike Moon is now going over to Illumination to start/oversee an adult-only shingle called Moonlight. And I think, didn't they say also that he's kind of advising on everything now, too? Like, he's a big, deal over there. It's just really interesting. He's had so many different stints, and he's worked at Disney Channel and at Sony Pictures Animation, and his kind of imprint on modern day animation cannot be overstated, I think. So
No, not at all.
It also makes me wonder if he's taking any projects with him, like, say, the Alex Hirsch project that we have not heard anything about.
That would be cool. But isn't Moonlight supposed to be like a brand new division at Illuminations?
Yeah, this is something they've never tried, never done before. It's really interesting. I mean, there's an adult animation division of Netflix. Sony Pictures Animation is doing adult animation, as I have seen snippets of the King Elvis series as well, or Agent King.
Yeah, Agent King.
King, which involves a cocaine-snorting monkey who is his sidekick. And obviously they're doing Fixed over there, and, so yeah, I think it's really, really interesting that they're kind of embracing this full force.
Okay.
You tell me, Jim. I don't know.
No. I mean, I am happy with this development. Anything that allows Mike Boone to use every tool in his drawer. And when you think about this guy's career and every place that he's worked, it's going to be interesting to see what he does at Illuminations. It would be cool at some point to do a retrospective of everything that Mike Boone has touched. But speaking of retrospectives, this Laika Festival, the Academy Museum, that kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. There's a lot of Laika stuff happening. I don't know if you also saw, but that Coraline and Paranorman are getting 4K Blu-rays come December.
Yeah. And let's not forget about the Laika Life in Stop Motion exhibit that actually started first of last month at the Museum of Moving Image out in Queens. In fact, I was planning on catching that on the Saturday before the Del Toro Pinocchio thing opened at the MoMA in New York.
Oh, yeah. You'll be very jealous, Jim, because I actually got to touch and hold some of the models from Pinocchio and move them around.
Oh, you're killing me.
I know. I'm sorry.
Nancy and I were at an event for Aardman's Curse of the Were-Rabbit. We are literally in the room with Nick Park. And Nancy can't help herself. To the effect of Wallace and Gromit are sitting on the table there and just oh, can I touch them? And Nick Park is no. No, you cannot touch them. Actually move them aside. But the kicker, this very same trip, Nick Park, the ghost from Boston, down to New York to do a press event, steps out of a cab drives off with Wallace and Gromit still in the car. And, there was just all of these press stories of Wallace and Gromit loose in New York, and it took a day or so for them to recover and be returned. But it's see, that's the universe. You don't let Nancy Stadler touch your puppets. The universe gets back at you.
If I was in a cab with Wallace and Gromit, I'm not going to say I would have returned them, is all I will say. They might still be on a shelf right now.
All right, so this Laika Festival at the Academy Museum in L.A., so they're $5 matinee series, and so we're supposed to get Missing Link, Kubo and the Two Strings, Box Trolls, Coraline. The one that I would really go out for, folks, 2 presentations of Paranorman, which will then be followed by Q&As with filmmaker Chris Butler, the writer-director, Ariane Suttner, the producer, and Deborah Cook, who is the costume designer. And one of the reasons that I love October is that Paranorman starts showing up everywhere again. And in a weird sort of way, we were just talking about Hocus Pocus 2, which obviously is supposed to be set in modern-day Salem. And trust me, anybody who's actually been out to the North Shore of Boston, Paranorman gets it right. It's that tired town where something historic happened 300 years ago. They nailed the look. The sad community that is still coasting on something that happened 350 years ago.
Yeah, and I think is it the 10th anniversary of Paranorman this year?
I want to say yeah. And just an amazing film. So that brings us up basically up to speed, but we're going to take a quick break here, folks, and then Drew is going to talk about what he got to see as part of the Disney's Strange World long lead.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Gold Bond knows that things are just better with a little boost. Like your music and your skin. Check out Gold Bond's new Plumping Collagen Body and Face Serum Lotion. It's clinically shown to visibly plump and boost skin hydration by 50%, leaving your skin looking hydrated and more youthful. Turn up beautiful skin with Gold Bond's new Plumping Collagen Body and Face Serum Lotion. Learn more on Amazon.
Okay, I read the piece that you posted over on the Wrap about the Strange World long lead, and the elevator pitch for this movie is kind of out there.
Well, it's out there, but it made everything kind of click in a way, which is why I had to talk about it in the piece, is that they were pitching it as Journey to the Center of the Earth meets National Lampoon's Vacation. That it's, this crazy high concept adventure, but at the core of it, there's the story of family and, hilarious family dynamics and all that stuff. So, yeah, I was pretty impressed with what I saw, and I just, I don't understand how marketing is not kind of getting this across, but hey, whatever. It's not a singing princess movie, so I know the challenge is a little bit greater there.
Think about how much high-profile animation stuff has come out just in the past 3 and 4 months. Just breaking through that clutter is tough. And also, especially in a world today where you have things that go theatrical and then show up on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I actually wonder if this will follow the same formula as Encanto and show up on Disney Plus by Christmas.
And that's actually when Encanto caught fire. I love that story that Lin-Manuel Miranda tells about, took his family on vacation and turned off his phone and, after 3 and 4 days turned on his phone and, you have 10,000 messages. And, and they were all friends from high school. Look, my kid is singing. We, talk about Bruno. So I wonder if that's going to be the same case again. By the way, are you getting any sense of that at all? Is Lightyear finally digging its toes in and becoming, that much more prominent and relevant?
I see a lot of people talking about it on Twitter. It'll be interesting to see if they campaign for this one. I am assuming that they will, but I don't know yet. It could be that Turning Red kind of takes the spotlight. But...
That's true. That's such a shame because Agnes McClain delivered a real movie. A really good movie. Seriously, folks, if you have not watched Lightyear yet, you're missing out on great fun. On the other hand, over the last week to 10 days, not the internet's proudest moment, particularly with the reaction to the live-action Little Mermaid trailer, the Rob Marshall movie.
Well, I would actually say this is kind of like the best of times, worst of times situation, because there have been a lot of really cute videos of young African-American girls and
will say that
black kids around the world really watching this and saying, oh my God, it's so powerful. But yeah, the louder contingency are these idiots online. Yeah.
Did you see the guy who wrote the patch that basically turned Halle Bailey, I think it's a question of hue?
And then he said, this isn't a racist thing. It's like,
oh, no.
Yeah, sure.
No. Look, folks, Drew and I, because we went to the studio presentation at D23, we actually we didn't get to see snippets of Halle Bailey performing Part of Your World. We got to see the whole number. And we got to hear the stories that Rob Marshall told from the stage where they shot that number over 3.5 days and they really wanted to bring something of size to the show to sort of let people know this is what this is going to look like. This is what this is going to be like. And I have to say, when you see the whole number, when you see Hallie perform all of it. She knocks it straight out of the park.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, you will well up multiple times as the entire audience did watching her do this. And it's not because of the visual effects or anything. It's because of her amazing performance and her amazing singing voice. It's really something else.
She did an amazing job, and little kids all over the world are excited about just seeing that little snippet of her. They're going to lose their minds when they see the full-on movie. Just over the past week or so, I got my hands on a copy of Jodie Benson's memoir, Part of My World, What I Learned from The Little Mermaid About Love, Faith, and Finding My Voice. Jodie wrote this herself with the help of Karen Trevor. Remember how you and I talked about Somewhere Out There, the Don Bluth memoir that just disappointed? We've been waiting for Don Bluth to tell stories about his animation career forever, and he finally did and didn't deliver the goods.
I mean, we learned a lot about him sharing a bath with his entire family. So,
well, there's that. Yeah. I have to say, Jodie Benson's memoir is the ante Somewhere Out There. This book genuinely delivers the goods. And Jodie is a storyteller. Jodie, wonderful, entertaining look back at her career. She talked about how she became an honorary citizen of Disneyland in, I want to say, 86. I mean, a full 2 and 3 years before The Little Mermaid came out, because she was in that Howard Ashman, Marvin Hamlish show, Smile, and she performed the number Disneyland as part of the show. And she just tells this story about one night, in the show, she comes backstage and there were 3 Disney suits in her dressing room. And they're like, we heard, we saw the show. Okay. And we like the song. Okay. And then the very next night she's doing her bow and suddenly the audience is making noise that she's never heard before. She turns around and there's somebody in the Mickey Mouse costume from the parks on stage with her. And they stop, the finale to present her with her honorary Disneyland citizen thing there in the show with Mickey there. And no idea that the mermaid, Little Mermaid will be teed up beyond that Howard will take her along on this journey. And she doesn't pull any punches. I mean, this book takes you into the hospital room where she says goodbye to Howard. As we're losing him to age. This book takes you into the recording booth with Mr. Ashman, where he keeps trying to explain to her that I didn't hire Ethel Merman to be, the Little Mermaid. You can stop singing as if you're in the Luntfontein trying to make your voice reach out to 1,500 people, all the folks in the balcony. You have to do less. You have to, you're talking to Flounder. In fact, that's I think what's fascinating is to read about how Howard coached out of her the original performance of Part of Your World. And it then goes on. I mean, it talks about her ongoing relationship with the Disney company, her work on Enchanted, that the number of times she's appeared with her fellow Disney princesses and at events and sung, concerts with them and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of Disney history in here, but there's also, she does talk about her private life. She does talk about her faith, but not in a shoving it in your face kind of way. In short, again, if you're looking you're a fan of The Little Mermaid, or if you haven't just enjoyed Jodie's work over the years, I really recommend going out and chasing yourself down a copy of Part of My World. Now, I apologize, folks, because this is kind of a shorter version of Fine Tuning than Drew and I typically do, but I've got to run to the airport, and Drew, you're headed off to Playa Vista, right?
Yeah, they're actually showing Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol in its original IMAX format for the first time since December 2011. So me and Charles were gassing up the Light the Fuse mobile, and we're going out there.
Are you still continuing your Lightyear the Fuse series?
We've got one more this week. Our final part with Lightyear director Angus MacLean and cinematographer in charge of camera and layout Jeremy Lasky. So we still got more great stuff. That was a really fun 3-parter to do. So check that out this week.
By the way, we have a couple of podcasts here that we'd also like you to listen to. We have, of course, Disney Dish that I do with Len Testa. We have Marvelous Disney, which I do with Aaron Adams. We have Looking at Lucasfilm, I do with Brian Gahn. Can you tell the nice folks where they can find you online, Drew?
Sure. Drew Tailored, like a tailored shirt on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Jim Hill Media, and over on Facebook as Jim Hill Media News. And that's going to do it. So, like I said, Drew's headed out to Playa Vista. I'm headed out to the airport, but we'll be back next week with a brand new show. Till then, thank you for listening.